I'm Stacey Richards and I live in Southampton. My son Jake has a diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. Jake's just a normal little boy who's 8 years old. He has similar interests to 8-year-old boys, but he might have a more intense interest at times. He wants to make friends, but finds it tricky. So he wants to do all the normal things that other kids do. He's a really funny, charming little character. He's very chatty and has been since the day he could talk. He's also really, really clever, very bright. He's able to take information and use it in ways that I would never imagine. So he's really almost like a mini scientist. Jake finds certain things difficult. It might be a noise or something he can see, a smell, or it might be something more about the way he feels. So when he is overwhelmed, he may be understimulated by his senses or overstimulated. So it's very tricky with Jake because things change. Sometimes it's too noisy, sometimes it's not noisy enough. Jake is able to talk very fluently and eloquently, but the social nuances of conversation can be very hard for him. So sometimes he talks too much, sometimes he doesn't know when to stop talking, and he doesn't pick up on body language or cues that other people would realise. So if someone says goodbye to him or thanks for coming, he might not respond in the way you would expect and just be completely silent, not realising that he's making a faux pas or appearing impolite. When it's unpredictable what's going to happen in a situation, Jake will refuse to take part sometimes or avoid it. If something's predictable, then he's much more likely to join in. Often children like Jake can appear naughty because of the behaviour that they're doing. So they might be pulling away and trying to avoid a situation, or they might appear to be refusing to speak or refusing to look at someone. Jake's never trying to be rude or impolite, and he would never want to offend anyone, but the situation that he's in is making him feel that way and react that way. So it's really around awareness, and the more people are aware, the more they will just give him a break and just understand that he's not himself. So he is a very lovable, chatty, funny little character. If Jake is not acting in that way and he's being silent and appearing moody, then something's wrong. It's not that he's trying to be rude to you.
My name is Lauren Rebello and I have autism. I was diagnosed at a fairly late age, but I realised after the diagnosis there are many things I did in the past that didn't make sense to me. I didn't understand social norms, I didn't understand why certain things I did seemed weird or off to other people. But I didn't really consider it a bad thing because I was so good at so many subjects. I have my own unique way of seeing the world that no one else can really experience, even other people on the spectrum. Lots of people wouldn't understand why I can sometimes talk and I sometimes can't. But also noises, they're so much louder and colours are so much brighter that sometimes I wondered how other people could cope with it and I couldn't. I'm more aware about the world of autism. I wish there was more awareness for it, but I am glad that I'm now part of this community and that I can maybe understand it a bit better than the average person. The kind of shops that I go into personally aren't very crowded because they aren't the mainstream shops. I like going into comic shops or game shops and they'll just be filled with like a few people all kind of doing their own thing. It's a lot less packed. Also, I don't usually leave the house without someone because I like there being someone with me to, first of all, kind of distract from the outside environment. Like if I can focus on them and what they're saying, I can sometimes block out the stressful environment that is around me. but also in case anything happens, like if I have a meltdown, they're there and they have a rough idea of what to do if that happens. In many ways, autism is an invisible disability. I don't have a physical disability that people can see, so if I do something out of the ordinary, it's just seen as either rude or strange, and I get a lot of kind of abuse from it. Being autistic isn't as bad as a lot of people make it seem. A lot of the media have kind of put a negative spin on the word. It makes people think that it's worse than it actually is, and it really isn't. It's not always a good thing to fit in. It's a good thing to be doing your own thing because it makes you happy personally. Because a lot of other people will just follow all of the social norms, all the recent trends, just because they're afraid of going outside that. But sometimes being the quote-unquote odd one out is actually better because you are your own unique person, and people might even remember you more for it.